back, everyone. It seems like it's been forever since I've done a video. So with keeping true to our schedule, we have a really great lineup for December. And we've already done an apple video before, but we're gonna do a continuation and start to prepare those kits. But in the meantime, with December, with the cold and flu season, I really wanted to kind of, I guess, introduce or reintroduce some teas, especially during this time to help us combat some of those illnesses. For the most part, we've heard about number 6, bergamot, right? And if you're my friend on Facebook, you might have really heard me really talk about it and saw pictures of us harvesting and encouraging you to harvest as well. And that was usually late July, early August. So even though we started this grant a little late, we've harvested a lot of bergamot. And so I thought, it's really imperative that we really kind of get number 6 in our teas back into our diets on a regular basis. And so again, it was thinking about, well, at this moment, what do we have? So in Wisconsin, it's amazing. We actually live in such a great state that we're able to really gather a lot of teas right here. Also, we also have an environmental department that has done a lot of work with bringing some of our native species, herbs, plants, medicines back in this area to help us to be able to forage for them and harvest them. So with bergamot, you're going to see this everywhere, and I hope that you do come, like I mentioned, July and August. So this herb here, what you want to do is the other thing I want to talk about is sustainable harvesting. And I always have heard of that term, but never quite understood what it meant. I mean, I knew what it meant, but until I actually seen it happen, then it was like, oh yes, we need to continue to talk about sustainable harvesting. And what does that mean? Well, it's making sure that anytime that we're harvesting is that we're cutting, we're not taking the root system, and we're cutting actually after that, so that plant can continue to be prolific and continue to come back. I happened to notice that this past year in this area where we really encourage people to go and harvest leeks, and they weren't as prolific as they've been in the years past. And that was my one indication about, all right, really emphasizing on sustainable harvesting. So with bergamot, again, you're gonna hear me, and we're going to do another follow-up video come the summertime on beautiful bergamot. And so what you want to do is they get pretty tall. They get really tall, and you want some clippers. You're going to be finding them in open fields, in ditches, all over the place. Seriously, all over the place. And they're beautiful. They have a beautiful purple flower. It's kind of ironic too, just the color with us. And so the smell of it is kind of like an oregano, like a thyme, and it can get a little strong. And so what I like to do, and what I've been taught, is that the flower is really what you want to be able to make sure that you don't crush as much and to save it. So what you're going to do is I'm going to be making up these kits. You're going to get a jar, because I can't stress enough how important glass closures are, glass jars, to store any dry goods. It's ultimately the best way to store dry goods. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a few of these. You're going to get a few of these bundles, and when it comes to this next summer, I'm going to say make sure you grab 30 to a bundle. And what you're going to do is you're going to hang it to dry. And this is what we do. We just grab on some of the string, and then we hang it in an open area, even if we were opening this door, and so that air can move all through it to dry evenly. Because one thing, when you're going to get real particular about your herbs here, and so I know I kind of do. I want to make sure that my leaves kind of stay as green as possible. So that's another way to make sure that happens. So as I mentioned, the great thing about our area here is all that we have access to. So again, these videos is to really provide you information on where to go, how to harvest them, what to do with them. It's not always about me doing these videos and then giving you kits to do that. But again, as I mentioned, we have the opportunity to do these bergamot kits. So again, you're going to get a few of these. Well, I'll just grab one. So what I want you to do is to snap the leaves off of there. All right, snap those leaves off. Dump it into your jar. And then snap where the flower bud is. I really feel, even when I do this, that I can feel it even working in my pores. I feel like my pores are opening up. So when should you drink bergamot? What should you do with it? A lot of us know number 6 as a tea. And so we're able to steep the herbs. I'm going to just try to grab the rest of this here. In hot water, in a mug. So I have 2 right here. And there's many different ways to be able to do that. There's also tea bags. You can use coffee filters. You can have a lot of fun figuring out how to steep if you don't want to spend any extra funds. And again, it's super, super simple with these. You want to make sure that you're able to get a good amount in there. And what I like about these balls is that they're big enough, and so I don't have to measure out. So that's another part of what I really like about using the tea balls rather than the tea bags. But again, it's all on preference. So I really try to close it up, and then I dump it in some hot water, and then let it steep for a few minutes. I choose not to let it steep that long because bergamot could get pretty strong. And the other thing what I like to do is to add other teas. So this is a combo that I really like with mint because it's also a minty tea. So I really like to add mint to it. I also like to add lemon balm to it. Again, all of these herbs are all around us. Matter of fact, all of this was right in the back of my office, which is really cool. One of the other things that I get asked about is if I have any corn silk, because folks are putting their medicines through. And again, I can't stress enough that when you are harvesting corn, make sure that you're saving that corn silk. So when we talk about wellness, and we're actually going to talk a lot more about wellness here with some of these videos, I want to plug Radiant Voices. And we kind of tend to not think about the wellness part of even herbs. So it's more than just helping us combat flus. But lemon balm is really good for anxiety. I've learned a lot about the uses of lemon balm. And you know, you're needing medicine, so you need some corn silk. Our sweetgrass that we grow here and have access to, again, we taking the excess of what we cut, utilize and putting it into our tea. So there's so many multiple ways that we can use it. Taking a bath with some of these teas. The other thing that I want to mention is that if we're not as familiar with herbs and we're potentially with child, or we have high blood pressure, we're dealing with some cholesterol, is to really ask a lot of questions about what type of herbs that we want to bring into our diets. There's a lot of people in this group that have a lot of knowledge, so please drop your knowledge. Let's share knowledge about how are we using these herbs and what capacity. I really love that food challenge, and it really brought out so many different varieties of recipes that I wouldn't even have thought of. So I'm pretty sure that that is what's going to continue to happen. So when you're picking up your kit, and if you're interested, what you're going to be getting is a few stalks of the bergamot. You're going to be getting a glass jar, so hopefully you're filling your shelves with a lot of glass jars. The other thing I'm going to add in there is a cute little sweetgrass bundle. So when I talk about using all parts of the sweetgrass, what we do is we create these little, similar to like tobacco ties, we create little sweetgrass balls. So again, add it to your tea, add it to your bath, or use it as like a one-time smudge. So let me know if you're interested, and we'll start creating those kits for you. All right, Nugiwa.